Can y'all hear me? Okay, it's still going. All right, it's still going Jokayadega. Okay. It's still going Jokayadega. Have y'all been practicing these, saying them to somebody or anything? I mean, just to know that, you're using it. And that's the most important thing with language is using it. You have to use them. And just like I said, how many times do you say thank you in a day? Say mado instead of thank you. And then you can say istungo if you're going to greet somebody. How are you? That's one thing that we have to, you have to use it or lose it. And that's one of our mottos in here is use it or lose it. Okay. Different words. Here. Conversational phrases. This is like greetings, and this is what I'm saying. Like you can use this every day, and I use that first greeting during a wake service that day of the funeral. I asked my daughter that, and then I turned around and then I asked the family at a ceremonial ground. But I was asking one person, but I included him and the whole ground. So I said, does that make sense? So see, I can just ask one person. I can greet somebody and say, that's saying, did y'all make it through the night okay? Even though I'm talking to one person. But if I can just ask that one person that and make it plural. And we're going to go through that. And I'm starting lessons right now on what we was talking about yesterday. Here you go. He's Jay. Hear that tone? He's Jay, because you wanted to mean it. You can't walk up to somebody and say, he's Jay. You got to put that feeling into it. He's Jay. It's Dungo. See? It's Dungo. You're got to put that feeling in there. He's Jay. It's Dungo. Very good or very well. Hishimagi. You can even add that. Hishimagi's Jay. Very good. Hishimagi's Jay. How about you, Mon Chinda? And this is how you speak in English anyway. You'll say, how are you? Hello, how are you? And they'll say, I'm good, I'm well. How about you? And this is exactly what this says. I am well, I'm all right. Is your family well? Is your rest of your family well? And this is saying they're around okay, because look here, it's dongo, dongon for this. Yes, they're around okay. And is your family well also? Mont, jinaham galge mo is dongon for la. And this is just at home right here. This is something that I just put in there to. Is it sunny? Is the sun shining? Hashot today. Hashot today. Hashot today. Yes, it is. This is conversation. No, it's not. Mungudos. Is it raining? Oskidoa. Oskidos. And I went through this just the other day at home. Sometimes I'll use it on my husband, and he can get me. I'll say Oskidoa, and he said, He didn't say rest of this, but he said, So he understood me. And then later on, though, he'll say, Oskidos. And he won't say it to me. He'll say it to one of the kids. And I don't know if it's because he's afraid to say it to me or what, but he'll say it to one of the kids. He'll say, Oskidos. It's raining. So I don't know why he does that, but I'm gonna ask him. And I say listen because to my grandkids. I'll say, because sometimes they'll say, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. And I'll say, do you want to eat? And and sometimes they'll say no, sometimes they'll say, yeah, but I've already asked them because I tell them, because a lot of times I'll cook and they won't eat. They'll say, I'm not hungry. So I'll say, let's eat. Just like here. Excuse me, it's saying like, do you want to eat? Say you're on a trip and you say, they'll say, okay, let's eat. Yes, let's eat. And that might be stopping at a dairy bar, that might be stopping at a Sonic, that might be stopping somewhere. Let's eat. And that's like when you're in a car, and sometimes we used to say that to my mom. We'll say, and she'll say, okay, yes, let's eat. So we'll stop somewhere, I had my mom 99% of the time when we went somewhere, we give her my husband used to say, give her today. And we can go out and do it tomorrow, the next day, but we would give her a whole day just for her, because she was on a walker. And of course, we had to take the walker out, let her have it. Then we get her a motorized, any store that we went into, we got her a motorized. Then we had to haul them in and put her in a car. And so my husband would say, let's give her today. And we can do ours some other time. We'll do ours another day. And we would do that. We give her a whole day. And so I would say, and she'd say, okay, let's eat. Or yes, let's eat. I haven't seen you in a long time. Now, this is what I just said here, maybe about a week ago. I had to go do a storytelling or something about long ago on a Sunday. And I told this girl that spoke, I said, instead I said, this is Chihijaga Hofunis. I haven't seen you in a long time, but Hofunida, I haven't got to see you in a long time. What have you been doing? Nagin Duwacha. What have you been doing? Nagin Duwacha. I've been doing nothing. Nagin Do Essex. Jitski Istungun Atha. Istungun Atha. And I've done this in English too. I've seen a girl one night and she asked me, how have you been? I haven't seen you in so long, she said. But then this can be done just like that in Crete, in Muscogee. Okay, this right here. Okay, remember I told you I was going to go through some advice, and this is how it was told, to me. And I had to take this and write it in Muscogee, then write it in English. So I hope it's right. You say, it's still Malgan, I thought Kulijit. Moes, Dokhalegis. It says, show respect to all people, but grovel to none. And this was kind of hard because it says, don't, but the way this is written, it was don't crawl to none, don't crawl to no one. But be respectful. And that was to people like, she said, you can show all the respect to some people. But she said, they will treat you bad. They will treat you, they'll disrespect you. And they'll do anything they can get away with to you. And that's what kind of this is saying. She said, this to your mother, and I thought we did more as us. That's what she meant by that, and that's what she told me. She said, you can treat people really well. You can show them all the respect, but they will disrespect you. They will, and she said, it's just better to walk away from people like that. And it's coming up here. It says it does not require many words to speak the truth. That's what she used to say too. And this was from my uncle. he said, "Faccia bonado was lakshidet bonagashulgiduides." And I cut this down. He said, to speak truth, you speak the truth, and he said, but lies got a lot of words to it. So I kind of did this in a different way. It says does not require many words to speak the truth. Truth to speak, language is a lot. There's not a lot of words to speak the truth. But he told me, lying, you have to. He used to say, he said you have to cover it up all the time. That's how come he told me to speak the truth. Sometimes dreams are wiser than waking. This one I got from one of the older chiefs. Now I got this one from I got on a website, and I got this one. And I thought that was good because sometimes, my mom, we believe in dreams too. And she used to tell us dreams will tell you things, or dreams will teach you something, or somebody will come to your dream and tell you. And sometimes I tell her, like if we dream the snakes, she used to say, you got enemies. Or if we dreamed of something, I used to go to her, and she used to interpret dreams a lot of times. And I just got this from one of the off the website because it kind of pertained to what she said. So this, and it says, sometimes dreams are wiser than waking, being awake. And I wish God do for all my and she would sometimes she used to tell us, and I'm gonna tell you something that we were told. She told us that if we had bad dreams and you were worried about it, she used to say, go find an old tree and tell it to it. And it'll make it pass, or it'll make you feel better. The tree will take the dreams away. And
wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
We were fortunate to have a medicine man in our family. There's different levels, different kinds. And so we could go, or at least I could, because I have dreams, sometimes that are disturbing, sometimes they're not so disturbing, but you want to know maybe what they mean.
Yeah.
So I would go to him, kind of like the tree. He was an older guy, didn't say a whole lot, just stood tall like a tree.
Yeah.
You went to him, he would listen, and then he would give you a little bit of feedback about your dream. So I like that, what your mom used to say, go to a tree.
So my uncle one time, and they said as soon as you wake up, you had to go do it without eating or drinking nothing. And one day my uncle walks in, and it was early. Of course, they got up early, and I don't know why, but they got up early. And she said, where you been? She's talking to him in Muscovy. Where you been? And he said, talk to us. He said, I went to talk to a tree and coming back. I just came back from talking to a tree. And she knew, she knew what was going on. And she said, and he told her what he dreamed about. And I can't even remember that, but I know he told her he had this dream that he was worried about. And so that's what, she told him. And I remember them hearing about that. And it was, somebody said trees make the best neighbors sometimes. Yeah. They'll you can take their problem to them and they'll listen. And so, they listen without having to. And he said you had to go to an old tree. So behind our home, we do have an old tree back there, and that's when they were over my house, And my mom, of course, she lived with me, and then my uncle spent the night visiting her, and that's when he had the bad dream and went out there. And he said, I just went coming back from talking to a tree, Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. My mom, and I kind of had to put this in a way that she used to say. It says, she said, and she kind of did this in a different way. She said, she said, and she also said that, and this was done in English, and I've heard this before in quotes from English, you can't love somebody until you love yourself. And she used to tell me, you know, but not Kithida. She used to say, you got to know who you examine. Let's put it this way, examine yourself before you examine anybody else. Examine yourself, and that's where wisdom comes in. You'll know how to fix it, is what she kind of said. You know, so I put Kithida, not Kithida, knowing self, knowing yourself, you know, is the beginning of wisdom. So that's what she used to say, and I'm like, okay, you know, and but it's hard to do that, you know, because we want to look at everybody else, but we don't want. Actually, we have to look at ourselves, and that's what she said. Don't fix anybody else, but fix yourself. She said, let them worry about that. Right here, my uncle used to say this: there is no death, only a change of worlds. And you know, sometimes I heard one person come by to tell my mom that a certain person died. And he said, Igana, Idimiyabushkis. And he said, Nithiehi, Igana, Midiyabushkis. He said, last night, his world changed. And so they just say that Igana Shigudu, Ilga, Shiguduis, Imigana Delgoshit, Imidiyabushkiduis. So this is saying there is no death, only a change of worlds. And my uncle, that's when I heard my uncle from, but then I heard this man say, he was telling my mom, he said, Nithiehi, last night, Imigana Idimuyabushkis, his world changed. His world changed last night. So he was telling my mom that this man passed away last night. He died last night. And see, my uncle, and see, I don't know all what he meant, but he said, Nittat istihishagat fulidon. Nithi mat isti pashakibat fuliduis. So he told me, he said, daytime is for the living and nighttime is for the ones that died. And how true that is, but that's what he used to tell me. And so that's how I got this right here when he said, Iganas ilga sigoduis, imigana delgoshi, imidimu ibushkiduis. Ilga is death, sigo means none, is imigana, their land. That's all, just their land changes. Imidiyabushki means it changes over, you know, it changes over. But this is just some of the things that and right here, grown men can learn from little children. For little children are poor, therefore pure. Therefore, the Creator may show them many things which older people may miss. I got this from one of the quotes too from a website, but ours was a little different. It says, my mom said one day, she said the elder will have to listen to a child and he will be the leader of our tribe. One day. So this is saying, Huidaguji Figi, Hashat Hagiduiga. Hisagamishi nach Shogin in his squeegee duties. Ajulagi Imatidaya. It says God shows a lot of it says little kids' hearts are clean. So God shows them a lot of things that the elders can miss. And our way was they used to tell us little kids see things that the adults and things can't see because they're pure. And that kind of, and I got this from a saying too, but that we were told that too. They show them things, and mom said if they could talk, they would tell us a lot of things. That's what she used to say, because they see a lot of things that we can't see. And my mom even told me they see people that's passed on to little kids. And when I was telling this, one day I was talking about this we had I don't know if I told this the other day, I had a grandbaby, little bitty. She was just born. She wasn't even, I don't know if she was 2 months old yet. And my daughter, we was eating at the table, and we never left them by themselves. That was another thing that was told to us. Don't leave your baby by themselves, or don't put them in a bedroom by themselves. If you do, put a light on, or always have them with you. Well, she was in a carrier and we were eating, so she had that carrier down on the floor between her dad and her. And I was sitting on the other side of her dad, on the other side with my husband. And all of a sudden, she just started laughing. She just laughed like she was a grown person. And I quit. I looked at her and I said, "Is she laughing?" And my daughter said, "Yeah," kind of like shocked. "Yeah." And I was like, she ain't old enough to laugh. Not like that. I mean, she was tickled to death, not just grin. She was laughing out loud. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she was looking up toward our refrigerator. And then my husband goes, "Grandma's playing with her." That's all he said, was grandma was playing with her, because there was no reason for her to be laughing like she does. Like she was laughing, I mean, out loud. And I said, "Is she laughing?" And my daughter was like, yeah. Okay. So these kids, they say they see a lot of things, and they can see people too. They say they can see how people are. They can see how people are. They can see a person that's not good or something, and they'll tell them. It says jealousy does not hurt the person you are jealous of. It hurts you. Isti isfikjakagat. Inokejigo domis. Jimmy man. Domis. It says a person you are jealous of doesn't hurt them, you hurt yourself. So that's what she used to say. She said, don't be jealous of anybody, because she used to say, it's not going to hurt them, it's hurting you. You're the one that's worried about it a lot. She said, don't worry about it. Don't let them, don't do that. Don't be like that. Man has responsibility, not power. Isti yikchida ujigot. Madukida ujidos. Man doesn't have power. And my mom used to say that when my grandpa was a chief, he was a chief forever. She said just because he was named chief, he didn't have that power. But he said he had a heavy burden on his shoulder, looking after his people, looking after the people that was in the ring with him, in those arbors. And I took this from the website too, but it had meaning for me. What my mother told me, she used to say, it's heavy work to be sitting up there watching your people at a ceremonial ground. And she said, it's hard. She said, it's heavy work. She used to say that, and that's why I put this in there. Isti yichida ojigot, madukida ojidos. Man, power, have doesn't. His work, have is. That's the literal, but it says man has responsibility, not power. And that kind of hit me, because she used to tell me that about my grandpa. He used to tell her things, and she told him, he said, it's heavy work, but you have to worry about your people that's in that ring with you, going through that ceremony. And that's how come I put that in there. Any questions so far on any of these teachings? And a lot of it is, here's one that I always heard right here. It says, remember that your children are not your own, but live to you. It says, and that E was like an emphasis. It's just linked to you. it was an emphasis, and my mom used to say that she did not like children to be mistreated. In fact, you know, my daughters, when my great grandkids came in, I'm gonna tell you, there was like maybe 2 or 3 born when she passed away. And I'm gonna tell you, she spoiled them rotten. And my kids, and you know, I had 3 girls, so it was like, oh, grandma, you know, and you know, they knew where to go, grandma. They wanted some, it was grandma. It was my mother, not me. It was their great grandmother. And I mean, she held them, she talked to them, and this is what she told them. If they got tapped on the rear a little bit, this is what she told them. Those kids aren't yours. She said, it's just lent to you. And he says, if you mistreat him, he'll take them back, is what she used to say. He'll take them back. So you treat your kids good. And that's how I grew up hearing about those girls. And so I told them girls, I told my daughters, okay, ooh, I'm glad you're going through this because I went through this with y'all. Y'all were spoiled too. Now, I said, suck it up. Because her grandma did all this. She would spoil them. And if that baby was crying, she would tell me, pick the baby up and bring it to me. You know, and she was a spoiler. So she used to say this was her saying, children, your children is not yours, it's just lent to you, you know, and she used to say you have to treat them good. Here's one that I still stick to. It's better to go around not saying anything. Don't say, just to go around not saying anything. And you know, that's like, I guess maybe gossip or saying things about people, because she used to say, she used to say that to me all the time, you know. Let them say it. She said, even if the people are just saying things, she said, let them say it. She said, it's not going to hurt you, but just go around not saying nothing. And so that's what she used to tell me, you know, a lot of these things. And I have a lot more things that and you know, back then I was a little younger. I wasn't at the age now, but I'm seeing what she was talking about now. A lot of this is making sense to me now, but it didn't back then, because you know, when you're younger, and then especially after she died, when I think about all the things she told me, you know, and I'm just sitting there because I didn't, and I'm older now, you know, I'm seeing the sense in what she was doing. You know, they were sensible people back then. Okay, when a tornado around, it is sweeping the earth. And this one was told by me, and I heard it, but you know, I had totally forgot about it. My mom, or might have been my mom, she had told me this before, but it took another coworker to tell me this. It says, when a tornado is around, it is sweeping the earth. Tornado is I thought going around the world, it's sweeping the earth. And you know, my mom said when the earth gets so bad, she used to say, because she go have no life. She spoke about not knowing more degrees. She said, when there's no love on earth, there will be no more earth. That's what she used to tell us. And she used to say, she used to say, teach the kids love. That's what she used to tell me. Teach the kids love. So, and you know, and she used to say, this is clean. When the world gets so bad, it has to clean itself. So the tornado comes out and sweeps it. And he told me that, and you know, I remember that, you know, to a point. And when he said that, I said, oh my gosh. And you know, she used to tell me, she said, you're going to see changes, and I'm seeing these changes. She used to say, he don't know what. Igana. She spoke about how not Luis. She said, if you see things that was unusual and changes that you've never seen before, she said it's time for the earth to be cleaned up. She'll say, it needs to be cleaned up. And
Right.
she'll say, yes, ma'am.
Mvhayv, that's exactly what an elder from another tribe just shared with us. You know, when those strong winds hit a few weeks ago, it hit Tulsa really hard.
Yeah.
You know, rooted up some of those huge trees, and it was not a tornado.
It's just straight
It was
wind.
just strong winds. And then yesterday, Oklahoma City area had those same type of strong winds, maybe not as bad, but that elder from another tribe, that's exactly what he told us, what you shared just now.
You know, and most tribes, we got the same beliefs, but just a little, just similarities. There's a lot of similarities, but it's just a little bit different. But yeah, that's what my mom used to say, and she used to say, don't be part of ending this world. Because she used to say, and she used to say, when there's no love, that's when the earth is going to end, or the earth will be ended. And so she told me, she said, don't be a part of that. I'll bug at you. Don't be a part of that, And she used to tell me that. Well, now I get to the point where I'm like, and then I tell my kids that, I say, don't be part of that. You don't have to be part of everything that goes on. I said, don't be part of that. And she said, God, you sound just like grandma. That's my, and this one girl told me, she's gone now, but she goes, I'm getting to where I act more like my mom and say things like my mom every day. And she was laughing, but when we was growing up, we heard a lot of these things. Similarities too, like I told you, some of these come from the website, like this right here is man has responsibility, not power. Well, when I read that, I thought about my grandpa, what my mom told me. She said, Mikurunga. She said, Imistagi, Hilischilayaga, Agadichtuahanis. Honidos Adukida. She said her daddy told her, I have to look after. She said, this job is heavy on my shoulders because I have to look after the people that's taking part of the ceremony, making sure they're okay, making sure that I'm doing okay. And he said, it's heavy work, is what he told him. And that's how come I wrote this down. I don't know. I can't remember. There was Chief Joseph and Set Bull and stuff that said some of this stuff. And I just took it because it reminded me of what she had told me. And some of these are my own, that she told me, especially that jealousy. And it's better to go around not saying anything. Right here, she used to say, kids will see things. And she told me at one time now, and I haven't seen it yet. But she said, a very young person. She said, she said, little kid. She said, John Koshit, and that means real little, John Koshit. Yeah, Idalwa. Little Jeza Hanidon. Maho Gidoris. She said, a very little person. And she could have meant maybe somebody, I don't know. See, okay, now that I'm thinking about what she's saying, it could have meant a little baby, a little person. Said was going to run this nation one day. And she said, it'll be powerful. It'll be powerful. And she said the elders had told her that one day it'll happen. And it's kind of, that makes me wonder now, because after I said it, he said, John Kushit, and he said, they'll be powerful. So, and then that's mine right there. There is no death, only a change of worlds. But see, this was in that deal too. Because my uncle used to say that, he said there's no death, but only their world changes. Only their world changes. And then, I was growing up and I heard this man come to tell my mom, this person come over there to tell my mom that this person passed. She said, his land changed. And my mom, she said, well, let me know what's going to happen, she said his land, his world changed.
Maya, and if this is too personal question, did the elders have a peace when they were getting ready to pass? Because they believe this so much.
Do what now? So can you say that?
Because this is so strongly believed, did the elders have kind of a peace when they went to go pass to meet Creator as a result of believing this?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. My family did. My family had peace. My mother, she had peace. But she told me, I think I told y'all that story before about before she died, maybe a month or two before she died, she gave me advice. She said, well, she said, if anything should happen to me, she said, if you don't have any money, she said, wrap me in a quilt and bury me in your backyard. And I laughed at her. I said, oh, Mom, I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. And then she also told me, she said, if anything, and it seemed like this was at different intervals, because like I told them before, when I was telling the story, it could just come out of the blue. We could be sitting. She could be doing doing a crossword puzzle, and all of a sudden she would just tell me something. Or we could be riding in a car and we wouldn't be talking about nothing, but she would just tell me something. Things like this. Well, one day we was going and we was riding around, we was going to town, and she said, if anything should happen to me, Becky, she said, you're going to stand by yourself. She said, you're going to be alone. And I said, that's okay. I told her, that's okay. I said, I'll make it. And she said, and that's, but before that, she had told me at another time, she said, just wrap me in a quilt and put me in your yard. And, I didn't realize when she was telling me all, and she told me a lot more. She told me, she said, as long as you're able, because, she said, as long as you're able, you keep these girls together. Keep these grandkids together. You cook for them and keep them together. Because I started doing the cooking for holidays, years back, because she got to where she wasn't able. And so I said, she told me one day, she said, and that was probably, I've been cooking forever. She said, I'm not able anymore. And I said, that's okay. I said, but I always helped her. But see, she wanted to be the one to do it all. And I said, what? Let me do this, let me do that. Well, then one year she said, I just don't think I'm able. And I said, that's okay. I said, I've been doing it, I'll do it. Well, she would sit in the kitchen with me and say, no, that ain't the way you do it. That ain't the way I'm doing it. That's not the way it's done. And I would listen to her, but I did it my way. And but she told me, she said, keep the girls, keep the family together. She said, keep the girls and the grandkids together. And I'm still doing it. When we have holidays or anything, I will do it. I do all the cooking, and the grandkids, they'll come over. And like I said, it's tiring, but to see these kids, these little grandkids, just talking and laughing and eating made it worth it. And I think that's what she saw. You know, but she said, keep the family together because this is all you have. This is all you have. You only have each other. That's what she told me. And she said, you know, and this is what she told me, you know, she said, boyfriends come and go, husbands come and go. But sisters, your kids and grandkids will be there all the time. So she said, always stay together. So I still do that, you know. Sometimes we'll have sandwiches. Sometimes I'll get all the fixings for a sandwich and I'll say, y'all come over, let's eat a sandwich. And it may not nothing be elaborate, but we'll eat, you know. Sometimes we'll just get together and my three girls, you know, I think they're all 3.5 to 4 years apart. So and when they come over, they act like they haven't seen each other in years. And they'll just sit there and talk and tell each other and laugh. And they worry about their dad because they'll say, Dad, what do you want me to do? Dad, is there something you want us to do? Because he's setting up things for them to do after our dinners and stuff. And here I am, you know, and they don't ask me, what can I put on the table? They go to their dad. And, you know, and I'm like, that's just, you know, and I told him that ain't fair, you know, that ain't fair. But, you know, they always, cause, you know, he's had arthritis for years and they'll say, Dad, what can I do? Let me do this for you, Dad, let me do this. But for me, you know, it's like, well, Mom's got it handled, you know. And she said, well, and I said, now, y'all put things on the table for me. And they'll say, well, you want everything in a certain spot, in a certain way, you do it. Because I'll go fix it after they do it. That's probably why they don't want to mess with me, you know. That's probably why, but I've understood that, and you know, but you know, and because my mom was kind of that way too, you know. In fact, she was sitting in the chair when I was cooking and she said, no, you don't do that way. You don't do that way. You know, she was telling me. And this is how you do it, you know. And like I said, you know, I did it my way. I said, listen, I'm cooking. But she wanted to coach me. But see, things like this, you know, she would tell me things, but I didn't know. To me, she knew she was going to die. But she wanted to make sure that I knew she was telling me how to do things. But, you know, previous years, my uncle passed, her brother. And she told me, she said, you plan the funeral because you need to learn how to do it. She said, you plan it because you need to learn how to plan funerals. So I did. And then when she died, you know, before she died, she told me all this stuff. You know, she said, if you don't have any money, and I said, oh, Mom, I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. And I laughed at her, you know, because when she said, just wrap me in a quilt, put me in the ground, bury me behind your home, that, you know, you don't expect to hear something like that. And I kind of got tickled at her. And then she told me, she said, keep these girls together as long as you're able. She said, cook for these kids and feed them. Cook for these kids and feed them. She said, as long as you're able. She said, do that. And she said, and don't be fighting and arguing, she told me. So I think she was giving us peace, you know, like your question, giving us peace. Once she told me all this stuff, she was ready to go. But another thing, about might be a year or two, probably a year before her death, she had nieces and she had one niece and nephews that were out in the world. She didn't see them forever. The oldest one was 9. When her sister was married to a man and they divorced and she passed. And my mom was keeping her kids and the father came down and took them. just right out of her arms. But he had that right because they were his kids, but they were divorced for years. And he came down and took the kids. And the little girl was like 9 months old when they took her. This girl was 50-something years old. And she told me during that time, she was telling me all this stuff. She said, when I find out that these kids are okay, she said, they're out there somewhere. And she said, they're going to come home one day. And you know, about a year before she died, she called me and she said, Becky, she said, you don't know what happened to me. And I said, what happened, Mom? She said, my sister's son called me. He's been looking for me over 20 years and found me. He's coming down in 2 weeks. The kids are coming down in 2 weeks. And she visited with them. But when they were leaving, they stayed like a week with her and visited and everything. And of course, they had lives, you know. She told me they were leaving, you know, and she had a hard time because she said it's like they're taking them away from me. And when we was on the way back, we took them off to the airport, you know, and they were leaving. She said, when we was on the way back, she said, I'm ready to go now. She said, because I know they're okay. She said, they're grown, they're doing okay. I'm ready. But you know, I didn't know she meant that close because it was like a year later. If it was even a year. Well, he couldn't come down to the funeral because flights were full and everything, but he come down like 4 or 5 days after the funeral and visited and stayed with us. And you know, she meant it, I guess. And like I said, that peace was there, I think. She had peace when she died. So I think a lot of people has that peace because they take care of their stuff before. You know, before. And I think somehow they know that there's death coming for them. I think they know. Because I know for a fact, my mom knew. I think she knew she was going and she was okay with it. But she was giving me advice before she left. Telling me how to do things. And she said, don't make it hard on yourself. She said, don't get tired with me either, Becky. She said, don't make it hard on yourself. She said, just, she said, take me to the funeral home, straight to the grave. She said, I'll go down on the 4th day though. She said, bury me on the 4th day. Because our 4s is very important to the Muskogee people. So she said, bury me on the 4th day. And I said, okay, you know, and I was agreeing with her and everything, you know, and I did do what she wanted. You know, I did do what her request was. I didn't take her from the funeral home straight to the grave. We had a service for her. And she did tell me that if you're going to have service, she said, make it very short. Because she said, people get tired sitting. And you know, she was a mother to everybody till the day of her death. She said, people gets tired. I don't want them to get tired. She said, Becky, don't get tired. She says, people will get tired of sitting when it's a long funeral. She said, just say a few words if you have to. And she said, because they get tired. She was a mother all the way down, you know, to her death, I guess, because she was doing all this. Okay. So look here. And I won't show y'all how to break these up because some of y'all had okay, look here. E, C, D, E. E, C, D, E. Isti. Isti. O, mi, a, li, gi, a, ni. Omal, gan. Omal. See this mi, a, li is omal. Malgan. Athaquijit. This is right here. This is where your consonants and vowels come in. When you got 2 consonants right here, you got to say both. So Athaquijit. Athaquijit. Mowes. Do hal legitskas. Dokalegiskas. Do right here. Remember, there's two consonants, but right here. But it's not, one is not, you can't hardly hear it. You gotta feel this one. Do. That is there. Do. Halegiskas. Show respect to all people, but grovel to none. Do. And you can feel that right here. Do. Halegiskas. Don't crawl to no one. Don't grovel to nobody. But sometimes this is spelled with a T. And I do that once in a while, sometimes because, like I told y'all before, you know, people from Hannah, they'll say, ook hombida for table. And in a dictionary, it says, oh hombida. So there's a dialect difference there, and same way with this word, and this is double consonant too. But when we say it with a D sound, but and that D is right on top of our teeth, but it's, you know, either way, it's understood, and it's you know, it's how you speak. Fatcha. See, if I say it this way, you can hear that GG. But if I don't, if I speak the way I speak, it'd be fatcha. See, and then fatcha. Ponaida, ponagashil, gigo duis. Okay, fatcha, ponaida, ponaga, sol, gigo duis. I'm gonna break these up for you. See where you can see these sounds. Abichka, abichka, abichka. Tofa, omat, ahonichka, sin hoboth any doings. See this double consonant, both hoboth any doings. There's a question.
I don't have a question, but that's what I had the hardest time with, so it's double consonants.
Exactly, and that's what she said to my, you know, she said to me, she said, husbands can go, come and go. Boyfriends can come and go, but you're all you have. Y'all have each other. They'll always be there. That's what she's telling me. So that's kind of what she was saying, I guess, you know. So dofa omad means, dofa means like sometimes dofa omad. Ahonich, hear that G in there? Ahonichka. Sin hubuthani duis. Sin hubuthani duis. Sometimes it's wiser. Knowing yourself is beginning of. And this is where this and this kind of comes in. Right here. Not maki got actually better do right here is what she was talking about. Igifidet mat. Igif, see that double consonant? Igifidet mat. Not gifida allergy chidos. That is beginning. You learn yourself first. If you know yourself, then it kind of goes to this right here. Not magigot, asibidos. You don't go, it's better to go around not saying anything. And that meant like probably hurtful things to people or saying things that, you know, you shouldn't, you know, like, well, in the English way, it says if you don't have nothing nice to say about anybody, don't say it at all. Maybe that's where it went, you know. Not kifida alezidos. It's saying knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And I think that's where that comes in. But that's what she used to tell us, you know. What's the way she said it was. Examine yourself first, be going around saying, examine yourself first. You know, she'd say, you know, she used to say, truth and knowing yourself is the hardest thing to do, And she used to say this right here, and I saw this and I thought, yeah, that's what she used to say. There is no death, only a change of worlds. And our people, they kind of believe that it wasn't no death. It was sleeping, resting. My mom used to say resting. You're just resting. And so when I told her, I say, I am so tired, Mom. She'd say, one day there's rest for you. There's a rest for you. And she meant death, I guess, one day that you'll have rest. So there is no death, only a change of worlds. And this is what my uncle always said. Ilga sigoduis. Hear that, Lee? Ilga sigoduis. Imigana dal gosi. Imidio voshkiduis. There is no death, just their land, their world changes. The world changes. So he used to say they come from the living world to the world of rest. And he used to say daytime is for the breathing, the nighttime is for the ones that have died. And that's what he meant, I think, when he said their worlds change. I think. They spoke in parables, Grown men can learn from little children, for little children are pure. This is another thing we heard. They said they see things and they know things. They've been told things. They tell things. They've been told. And it says, Hubi daguji, figi, hasatagi duiga. Isaganamisi nak solgin in his squeegee duis. Ajulagi imatidayat. So God shows a lot. Grown men can learn from little children, okay? For little children are pure, therefore the Creator may show them things which older people may miss. But for what I was told was that a child can see things that we can't. They spot things that we can't. My mom used to tell me they can see ghosts, spirits. They can see spirits. And they can communicate with them. And in fact, she used to say, when a new person comes into the family, she used to say that all the ones that were gone will come back and visit that child. And she used to tell us that, and that's how come you couldn't leave them by themselves. And you always had light in a bedroom for them. And it says, jealousy does not hurt the person you are jealous of, it hurts you. That's what she used to tell me that too, She used to say, Ishti, isfikchakagat, inokkejigo domis, chimi men, inokkejigidumis. It says, the person that you're jealous of, it doesn't hurt them, you hurt yourself. And she said, they don't care if you're jealous of them. She says, they don't care if you're mad at them. You're the ones that's harping on it, I guess. She said, Jimmy, man, you're harping on it and you're the one that's missing out on something because you're harping on them. So she said, it's not good to be jealous of anybody. It hurts you. Man has responsibility, not power. Isti, hear that C? Isti, yik. Hear that key? Yik, chida. Ojigot, madot, kida, ojidos. See how I broke these up? This is how you break them up into sounds. Chin, bidagi, chinak, dogo, dos. E, chimbalhuidos. Just lent to you. E means that just lent to you. E, chimbalhuidos. It's better not go around not saying anything. Knock, magigot, dos. Just go around not saying anything. But I got it literal right here. When a tornado is around, it's sweeping the earth. Ho, dali, fuck, go, atat, igana bastuis. When the tornado's around, it sweeps the world. It's sweeping the world of the land, you know. So any questions so far on this? Did y'all like this? This was just something for Friday. Did y'all did you know did y'all learn something from this, or what I was told as growing up? Kind of seeing how I grew up.
Yes, ma'am. That was just invaluable wisdom, absolutely precious, a treasure. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Sometimes we can teach language, but sometimes we just can't teach language. There's things that go with it. There's a braid. The language is wrapped with history and little things that go along with it. It's a braid. And some people says, teaching language. But sometimes you have to have more than, because language is there's a lot to language. You know what I'm saying? And it's a braid with everything that's in it. Hymns, speaking, stories that we were told, and it was told all in a language. So it's just not just in history, what people used to say. This is my teaching. Y'all kind of getting that. I'm still looking for pictures. I'm still trying to find pictures of my family so y'all can see me. I want y'all to know me. And I want y'all to know me. So I'm still looking, but I will find them. I know they're in a plastic. They're in a bin somewhere, and me and my husband look for it here a few days back. He said, Becky, I don't know where you found. I didn't put them. I said, you did. They're here somewhere. We were looking, we were blaming each other. But anyway, Haziskivka Hokola Hoyanibiga. Haziskivka Hamgat Hokolsha Hoyanibiga. It's come to 1 and 2 minutes past. Chihizagate Monday in Hayatgat. I will see y'all Monday, the morning after Monday. Mado, guys, Mado for listening. This is just, something that I just threw together for today. And I got more lessons. I'm going through these and that we went through yesterday.
But Mvhayv, I love this. This is invaluable. Seriously, and the heart of the language is always the heart of the people, and I love the heart of Muskogee people. And this is, you're right. You can't just, you can look up words in a dictionary, but that's not language, So
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this.
Language is about the people that spoke it. So, all right, Mado, guys, Mado.
Mado.
Yeah, Mado together stay. What are you doing? Yeah, wait till you.